Look, I've pushed the button.
Push the button. Hi, everybody. Ladies, gents, children, dogs, cats, anybody else who's watching, listening to us, welcome to episode 70 of the Ladies Wot Pod. I am Lis Saunders, who normally in South Northants, but not today. I am still on my travels, and I am in York, and it's a very grey day and very wet. So we've been in the railway museum today because it's dry and free. And so that's who I am. And you are?
I am Claire Jones. I was wearing a red hat this weekend in the frozen north. It was blooming cold. But I'm in Cambridgeshire, a rather damp Cambridgeshire. We did the bank holiday thing where you go to the garden centre because you can't think of anything else to do. But I did actually have a reason to go. Yes, I'm still on the edge of the fens. I'm still, wearing a red hat as necessary. And we had a bit of a week. Well, you're still having a bit of a weekend. It continues, Mrs. Saunders.
Still having a bit of a weekend, yes. We were up in Newcastle, obviously, for Friday night for the game. We went up on Thursday and stayed there Thursday, Friday. Then went up to Ealing to see a concert of people playing squeeze boxes very well, and that was quite exciting. John Kirkpatrick, for those of you who might know, he was very entertaining, along with Cohen Braithwaite Kilcoyne, who's an up-and-coming young man, brilliant box player. Oh, no, it's just fallen. And that's good. And then we came down to York yesterday, and have been shambling around York, mainly, meeting up with family, and then we're home tomorrow.
So the reason that Liz sounds a bit echoey is she doesn't have her usual setup of South Northants, so she'll sound a little more echoey than she normally does. Meanwhile, I'm in my usual place, but I've got this cable sitting in here. I don't know what I've done, but it's a mess. Anyway. Right, so Friday night, Mrs. Saunders, what was your assessment?
I don't know. Well, I love that little ground. I preferred it when they still had grass, to be honest. And I'm not a great lover of these plastic pitches, but I do love that ground for some reason. It's like a proper rugby ground, the way you go in through the clubhouse. So we went in through the clubhouse, and Steve Diamond came past. And as you know, he is banned for 6 weeks. So as he went past, I went, I can see you, and he went, oh, was that effect, and beetled off in the opposite direction. So that was very good. And as you say, it was cold. It was very windy. Well, the wind got up, didn't it, during the course of the game? And it was a bit. Was it wet? I don't know.
Yes, thank you. It was wet.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
It wasn't wet throughout the game. It was windy throughout the game, but it was wet probably for the first 20-25 minutes, and then fortunately it decided to behave itself. As I said to Julia Chapman as she popped over to say hello, and that's name dropping, and I didn't mean to, but I did have a conversation about the weather with her. I work on the basis that unless the rain is coming at me horizontal at Kingston Park, I'm up on the deal. And it wasn't horizontal on Friday, even though it was a bit damp. But it was very windy. Very windy. And I don't think the TV really, having seen it back, I don't think the TV made enough reference to the fact how windy it was. Tom James does normally hit 50-22s from inside his own 22. It was...
I don't think...
With a banana kick, right, no tomorrow,
I don't think they were aware of how windy it was, because the wind got up during the course of the game. It was sitting where they were, which was behind us. You weren't aware of how windy it was, so...
It was very windy.
Not that I often leap to the defence of Austin Healy.
Yeah, it's very windy.
They may not have been aware of it. So we went into the game with... a much changed team from the Castor game, and then we had a late change to make it an even more much changed team, didn't we, with young James Round pulling out in I don't know, on the bus. I'm not sure when he pulled out, but
It was certainly before. He was, because we saw them all at open training on the Wednesday. We all had a jolly time at open training.
So it was very windy there, very windy then as well.
Yes, it was very windy there. Yes, it was quite blustery. Yeah.
Yeah. So James and I pulled out at some point, and that meant that Rory Hutchinson moved from the centre to full back. Thomas Litchfield moved, Mr. Dependable and Mr. Birthday Boy yesterday. He moved from wing to centre, and young Will Glister came in making his Premiership debut, I believe, on the wing. And so that was how we set up. We got Charlie Savannah at 10 and Tom James at 9.
And we did have a fleeting visit from Matt Litchfield, who managed to confuse Will Glister and put him offside. I do wish Matt, if he's going to come into midfield in the second half. I mean, I know he's only trying to help, but poor old Will, he ended up very confused and gave away a penalty. So, Matt, you're going to have to signal to the players when you're going to try and help out. Unbelievable.
Anyway. Yes, I thought Lenny was supposed to be going up with Graham, but it was Phil Pask doing the commentary.
Yes, it was all changed. It was like, big announcement that Lenny was going to make the trip north because Lee Dixon was outrageously busy being a coach. And in the dulcet tones of Phil Pask. I tried listening pitch side, but the signal was a bit naff, so I gave up.
Yeah. So notwithstanding, I mean, we set off with vim and vigour, but first blood went to the Falcons, didn't it?
They did.
Through a very well worked rampaging prop.
Two props to change between two props in midfield. Well, there you go.
It's very exciting. And then I went to the loo, and while I was there, Craig Wright scored. So that was service as usual. You can thank me later. And it was end-to-end stuff. So it was quite fascinating, actually, watching where the ball bounced, where it was just even more of a lottery than on a grass pitch. It was unbelievable, wasn't it? Some of the bounces.
The bounce, and of course, was it their 14, their wing, who didn't stop the ball, decided to try and trap it with his foot, and then ended up kicking it into the path of Will Glister just before half time. Yes,
who scored a magnificent try. So we got Craig Wright and Will Glister as debutants.
Yep.
They both scored.
Prem debutants.
Prem debutants.
Rugby Cup.
And I think, has Craig come on as a replacement? First start.
Yes,
certainly.
It was his first start. Yes, yeah.
And they both scored tries. Very good, very, very neat tries.
Yeah.
Luke Green as well. Was it his first start? We think.
I think so. Yeah. And and we must forget who had an outstanding game.
Given he was only operating on one shoulder by the end of the game. And
yes,
I think
he was doing his best Pat Lam impression.
Yeah, it was. Charlie Savannah went off 20 minutes in. Was it that far?
I think less than that.
So Paul Finsmith, who was able to be pedestrian and maybe come on in the last 10, had to come on quite early on, and that pitch looked merciless actually. So Charlie Savannah went off injured. Finn was hobbling around but carried on. Yak was down with an injured shoulder but carried on. Who else went off injured? Somebody else was Tom Pearson. TP went off, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a two-man tackle and his foot got trapped underneath and he tried to run it off, but
couldn't.
No.
So,
and he was sporting some engineering at the end of the game. So,
and certainly the amount of claret that was being spilt on that pitch from various noses was really quite disgusting. Oh, do you think they hose it down?
Talking of disgusting, what was disgusting, apart from the fact that Mitch's white shirt was covered in blood, it was the fact he was trying to work out which way to move it. after the game. So he was sat there going, no, that doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. And then, of course, every time he did, I was just like, Mitch, please, you know.
So I'm wondering, because it wasn't just him, some other people were bleeding as well.
Berger ended up with his nose going again from I think that was a repeat the previous week.
But I think at least one of theirs was bleeding.
Yeah, there were several players.
Did they hose that pitch down?
I have no idea. But
one of them knocked himself out by headbutting the pitch, didn't he?
Well, quite. And Hutch was reenacting the tackle, going, where was I supposed to go? I couldn't get much lower. I'd have been through. Yeah.
So that was anyway. So we rolled ahead to a comfortable, was it 28-10 lead at half time?
But we had the wind at that point. We did have the wind.
We may well have done. It was nothing to do with the wind, though. That leakage down the wing where they scored twice was nothing to do with the wind. So then they came back and then we had a line out right at the end with 40 seconds to go. We had a line out that we should have secured, and we didn't. And it was then the usual nail-biting stuff as we clung on to a 1-point lead.
But did you notice? So I think the wind did have an effect because we couldn't clear our lines. You know, Finn was not making the distance. Tom James was not making the distance, and we ended up with kick tennis, hoping that somebody would make a mistake. And to be fair, they did on occasion, and we did score. Tom James, the beautiful break, Finn to Berger to Tom James to score that fantastic try. Yeah. But so I think what it meant was that they naturally got an extra 20, 30 yards that they weren't getting in the first half, which gave them, you know, something to work, pressure to work with. But I noticed that defense. I mean, you know, Radders was watching very carefully. That defensive series of it was a set piece was just brilliant at the end because that was just inside their half when they started, and they ended up inside the 22, going backwards at a rate of knots. So although we gave the ball away at the line out, our defensive units, I mean, I hope, you know, Radders was enjoying that. I don't think anybody else was. Tom West was sort of proud. Shout out to Tom West. He was like gambling through the midfield like a spring lamb, he was. I mean, how many photographs did I take of Tom West smiling as he attacked?
I don't know. How many did you take?
Oh, hello, I'm changing my picture. That's quite fun.
What happened there then?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Excuse me, I'm just going to put my padlock on, so I can't do that. So Tom West, in fact, here he is.
We have a photo of Tom West.
I'm going to just show the ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. Look at this happy boy.
See him? Yes. Hurtling.
Hey! It's like, wee! I'm enjoying myself. I don't think he seems to be enjoying his time with this, but I think that is But he wasn't at the end. He was not. In fact, he even looked at me with the camera and went, "Not now, Claire." Yeah.
It was. It was a very we're used to it as Saints supporters, but it was our bad stuff, and actually showed a strength. The top 2 inches were working well in those last 3 minutes or whatever we played extra over the 80th minute. It was
yes. I mean, it seemed the second half did seem to take a long time to play.
It did. Oh, I don't know why Lukey seemed to have failed to be able to make a decision and have to refer everything.
We had TMO-itis, yes, and even right at the very end we had it because they were asking. We had captain's referrals, it seemed, which was a bit weird. I don't know what was going on there. Excuse me, Mr. West. Yeah, we had captain's referrals. I didn't think we had those in the Sport of Rugby Union, but clearly Luke thought we did.
We did.
Yeah. Shout out to actually one of the refereeing team, James. I can't remember his surname, but the one that wasn't Hamish Smales has bought a photo off me. Nice. A little donation, so I was dropping him an email to say Thank you very much, because that's lovely. It's the one where they're all staring at the screen, which they did a lot of, really.
They did a lot of.
Yes.
And there was all sorts of stuff going on as well, because it was. Well, I can't show any replays, Luke, at the moment, because the wire isn't long enough. And that was one of the most mysterious things I heard on my.
The wire isn't long enough.
Apparently, I'm sure that was what was said. And then the wire, somebody ran in with a new wire and just stretched the other one.
Oh, how odd! How strange! That's almost French.
But it's all like I'll run back up to the big screen. I have no idea what was going on at the beginning, but yes, it was all very strange. It was all very, very strange.
Very strange.
Not Lukey at all, actually. Not like our Luke.
Yeah, not our Luke. No. So we had a lot of claret. We had a lot of weather. But the PA. Can we talk about the PA? We're really sorry, but the PA is very loud. Tell me about it. Oh, my Lord. Are they all deaf in the North East? It was remarkable.
And random.
Yes, so random. It's like, oh, the heavens.
Suddenly you'd have a blast of Queen when the play was happening, and it was very strange.
It's like he'd fallen on his keyboard because he'd fallen asleep or something. It was very weird, and and there are a number of grounds now where it's happening more and more. It's happened at the Stonex for a long time. It's happening at Quins. It's happening. I mean, the PA at Falcons has got form. Oh, she's adjusting her.
Just in my ears.
Her ears are playing up, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The PA at Falcons does have form, but it really doesn't add to the ambience of the whole thing. So it also Kingston Park has an interesting rule about the crowd. So you might notice that some of the crowd at the ends, particularly, are allowed to stand against the barrier. Yeah. You have to be under 6. You have to be under 16 to stand there.
Oh,
yes. Yes. One dad decided he'd stretch the law a little bit. But I felt quite sorry for his daughter because he managed to drop her over the fence. She was not impressed. So, and unfortunately, it was all very close to me. It's very, very strange. But anyway, yes, the crowd were a bit. I think they've been having a good Friday, shall we say. A shout out to Mark Smith. So Mark Smith is the media manager at Falcons. Lovely man. Promised me good weather on X. As he looked across the vista of Kingston Park, he said, well, this is as good as it gets, Claire. Yeah. So, no, lovely man, and has a tough old job. And they got a good crowd. It was 6,500. Yeah. It looked pretty busy in the stands. Even the end terrace had a few people on it, the hardy souls in the wind. But yeah, no, well done to them. And everyone seemed to be having a good time. So, the Falcons, you can't say the Falcons supporters are, they're fair weather, because the weather they endure is pretty, and they've had a tough old season. So,
and a lot of Saints supporters there.
Yeah, everyone was on tour, weren't we? We'd obviously penciled that one in for our trip north. So, yeah, well done to all the Saints supporters. There were a lot of, you could hear you. There was a lot of cheering.
Apparently, I could be heard on the television, according to
well, we'll more of that in a moment, Mrs. Saunders. Which, given the PA, was quite remarkable, really. So, Ladies Wot Pod Player of the Match. Who are we going with?
For me, it was Will Glister. He had an immense game. I thought he played with bravery, speed. His defence was. I think he made one error. That was all. And the rest of it, he looked to the man of the ball. I was really, really impressed with the lad. And when you think he's 19, It was very impressive performance.
Well, it was clearly part of the game plan on the part of the Falcons to attack him with the high ball in the wind. And he was secure. There was no, absolutely, he was absolutely secure. And you could almost see their right wing, whose name is still escaping me, turning around, going, "Will you pack it in? He keeps catching it.
He keeps running at me. Stop it."
He's been mean to me. Yeah, so well done, Gliss. I think the other person I am going to shout out, because you don't often hear props getting. You don't often hear props.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought both props had a really good game, but Tom West, you were outstanding. He was everywhere. And you can always tell, because it's the number of photos I've got of people gambling through the, Tom was carrying like
through
a man.
The daffodils.
Yeah. Luke was playing really, really well. And Craig Wright, well, he's just Craig Wright. Craigo does what Craigo does,
Yes. Yeah, charging about the place.
Talking of
happy props, though, we did hear that Big Trevor was a very happy reserve, because he got to see his mum and his dad, and everybody didn't understand what he was saying.
So well done, Big Trevor. Yes.
He was able to talk to people without people going, "What about Thursday?"
I followed Elliot off the pitch into the changing room, and Elliot was asked for his autograph by lots of very excited. Yeah. Well, Finn ended up signing his socks, which seems to be a bit of a thing. It was happening at Welford Road as well. I think people have realised they're not going to get the shirts, so we'll have his socks, and of course I have my sock over there, not signed, but they didn't go. Did you notice the socks weren't blue this time? They were very definitely white.
Yeah, definitely white. So I don't know what that was about.
So I think you're right. I think the Ladies Wot Pod Player of the match, Will Glister. Congratulations, fabulous Premiership debut, and more power to your elbow, young man. Keep going. Sgt Wilson Award. There is only one winner.
Apparently so. Well, it's not Chunya. Chunya, who has won it a couple of times. I don't know. Luke was not impressed with Chunya chirping up.
No, but to be fair on Chunya, he went.
He
afterwards. He went very quiet, and he played the game of "I'll tell Tom," and then Tom can tell Angus, and then. So Chunya took his medicine, but there is only one winner of the Sgt Wilson Award. It's on film, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard Liz cry out, "Come on, you Saints," at the very moment of a scrum, and the commentary team noted that Luke was about to give a penalty against Saints, but changed his mind. Well done. So
I think it's coincidence, but I'll take it.
Dr. T said, "That was all down to Liz." I went, "Yeah, I heard it too."
It has been known in the past, actually, when I might point out something like the offside has not been adhered to terribly well, sir. And then next time it happens, we get a penalty, and people go, "You just told him that." It sounds like a cross between their infant teacher and their mother. They tend to listen. So, well done, me then. Thank you very much.
Well done, Mrs. Saunders. It really was. The timing was immaculate, and.
It's that bloody woman. She's even here. Why does she have to try?
I cannot get rid of her. But still, and there is one player that we haven't really mentioned at all who had an outstanding game, and that is Tom James, who was, of course, TNT's player of the match. Tom was back to his sniping bit. But by the way, Jack Van Portfleet, you learnt those skills from one Alex Mitchell. Don't come at me saying,
What?
Yesterday, he was doing his best Alex Mitchell impression. Anyway, so Tom, on the other hand, very definitely Tom. It was a fantastic break between Finn and Berger, and then who put Tom, the skipper put Tom away, who broke free, and then I'm just going to, here we go. The crowd did not appreciate it, but I did. little fist bump.
Yes.
As he went through, just to make his point.
I have to say that offload from Finn, I've watched it on video short and also on the highlights. He was falling over and he manages to get that ball away to Berger so well. And
well, I can show you if you like. Here
yeah,
we go.
Let's see
here we go. He's there.
There he is. Yeah. Yeah. Keeps his arm free, and away it goes to Berger.
Away it goes to Berger. And you can see the amount of claret.
Yeah.
And off goes Berger.
Off he goes. Did some stuff. Pops it up to Tom James,
who was away. And there was no stopping him. So, yeah, it was a brilliant break by Tom, and also thank you to Tom for letting me sit in his seat in the changing room. I didn't realise I was, because unlike all the other changing rooms where you get sort of a little hook to hang your bits on, it's all quite simple. So I didn't realise I was sat. I wouldn't normally sit where the fly half and the scrum half sit, but I just sat down and thought, oh, look, there's a little bit of bench. I can rest me weary pins. And I sat down, and what I was trying to get was sort of photographs of the players, the up the nose shot. And I found myself sitting in Tom's seat. But he was quite happy for me to sit there, so that was very kind of him. The Shoe Army song, if you're...
Yeah.
Was led by, unsurprisingly, Will Glister, Craig Wright, and Tom James.
Yes.
Oh, and Yak. I think Yak was there as well. Ooh.
I think he was.
Hold on. I may be wrong here.
Certainly it was Will Glister, Tom James, and Craig Wright. Because we weren't sure who got man of the match.
It was definitely Tom. Well,
but from the crowd we weren't sure because...
No, I think it's...
The PA, considering he was so vocal about some things, failed to announce
many
of the players, the Saints' substitutions or try scorers, actually. If I don't announce it, it won't have happened. Oh, yes, there's Yak. One shot at Yak.
Yeah, no, it was definitely Yak. I wasn't dreaming, and Yak had a really, really good game. So as you can see, there are little hooks, but they weren't actually sit. It was a very strange setup, but you can see there was much shoe waving. Angus and Chunya getting well stuck in. It was all. Yes.
Robbie Smith.
There was a Robbie Smith. There was a well-oiled Maker who was having a good Friday. Yes, it was. Yes, there was much singing with gusto, shall we say, which is great to see because it'd been a while since we'd won on the road outside of the Premiership Rugby Cup, when of course we won against Nottingham and we won against Coventry in Europe, and was it Europe? Europe. We played.
We won on the road in Europe. South Africa.
Yeah, we went. Oh, yeah, the Bulls. Yeah, but we didn't win in Paris.
We didn't win in
but
Paris.
In the Premiership, it's been something like that. Bonkers game against Exeter, I think, was the last time that we'd actually won away. Although I did point out to Dr. Jones, officially Twickenham is not our ground, so you could say that we won in June last year.
Yes.
Even though we were officially the home team. Anyway, so an all-rounder, 5 points in the bag. We're still in 8th, but Quinn's loss. Quinn's having a very strange, very good win by Sale. Very strange afternoon Quinn's had. A bit like Bristol Bears yesterday. That was very strange. So, yeah, no, great win, and we need to back it up this week, but more of that shortly. Meanwhile, in London...
Oh, yes. Yes, our intrepid Bedford Blues.
Yes.
Bumbling down to London.
Yes.
Trailfinders.
And featuring a few Saintsmen who did the club proud. It was, absolutely. It was a fantastic, fantastic afternoon for the Bedford Blues. Now, if you remember last year, they got absolutely hammered.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did. Was it the last game of the season?
That was last game of the season, and they got absolutely pummeled, and not a good afternoon at all. It was one starting saint, which was young Finn Brown, who started at 6, but it was Fred Tuilangi, I think, who again came to the fore. An outstanding performance. We had Ed Prowse, Jake Garside and Toby Cousins on the bench, but yeah, really, really, really good performance from the Bedford Blues, and I know that it was absolutely well enjoyed, because every cider that Ryan Robinson, Sherpa 2, I got the photo to go with it, so I know everybody had a good time on the way home. And reports of the hokey cokey being done in the Bedford Blues changing room at Goldington Road. Bless.
Right.
They know how to have a good time on a Saturday night.
They do, don't they? I'm just wondering what they were shaking all about, but yes.
I really enjoyed. Thank you to Ealing Trailfinders for doing a YouTube live thing. I had to turn the commentary off. I mean, I know it's Ealing Trailfinders. They were providing the so there's no need for BBC Balance, but it was so one-sided. Given what was going on the pitch, it actually was unlistenable. So I listened to it in silence because I couldn't stand the commentary anymore while I was pottering about in the kitchen at home. But well done to the Bedford Blues. That is,
it's really good.
Said they're punching above their weight, and they've absolutely proved it. This season, so well done. I imagine Mikey's a happy man. Yeah, I know Jim Henry was. He sounded very happy. Red Roses.
Yeah, Scotland. They're just laying waste to all before them, aren't they?
Yes, and well done to Scotland for not capitulating in the second half. Yeah, that second half was a feisty. I saw bits of it. I didn't see very much. But Helen Nelson, who I predicted would captain Scotland by the end of the Six Nations, did exactly that, and she led her troops very well. The back rower, McDonald, I think her name was, worked tirelessly to hold back the tide. So yeah, well done. Well done also to the crowd who were having a jolly time. Yes. So it's France. The showdown is France. Red Roses for the title next week. Am I right?
Yeah, must be. Yeah, must be.
Think so. Well, Towcester Under 10s.
Towcester Under 10s were Easter Sunday, so they were all given the weekend off. However, our intrepid duo went to the Saints camp at Tows on Thursday, when they had a lovely time, and when their mum collected them, Sam, who'd been coaching the under 7s, said, "Alfie's been really good and really listened all day," to which his mum went, "Sorry, this is Alfie."
Have you got the right child?
Yes, he'd been an absolute star, and she was laughing because they played this one game called Crossing the Golden River, and you can cross, if you've got blue eyes, you can cross the Golden River or whatever, So it was, you can cross the Golden River if Henry Pollock is your favourite rugby player, and it was only Alfie who went. So Alfie did a pirouette, just me and Henry with the "Can't touch me, Henry." Off he went. So that was quite good.
Yes.
And Harry had a lovely time, as we can hear.
So today I've gone to a rugby camp and we did some drills warming up. The drills we did was new type of catching. When the ball comes to you, instead of doing it like that, if you're going to pass, catch it like that, so you can go like that and into a pass. We also did, what was it? So that's early pass. We also did, let's say there was a tackle here and I was here, what I would do is I would start running, I would catch the ball, and then because I wasn't standing still, I could just keep running and score a try. And I did score 2 tries today. It's been a few weeks since I've scored my last tries, and I also did 5 assists. And there was this bigger kid called Xavier who I scored on twice, and he got really angry for some reason.
Is that everything?
Yeah.
Well done to all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
So
camps
they're-
Those camps are really good, aren't they? The team do a really, really good job.
Oh, they do. And I was talking the previous Sunday to mum of one of the girls in the a couple of the girls actually had gone to the girls only camp at Daventry, and it had done them a power of good, done their confidence, an absolute power of good. So they're also wonderful. So well done to the community team. We love you all of them.
Top work all round. So well done. Saint Supporters Club?
Yes, we didn't have enough interest to be able to risk the coach to Dublin, unfortunately. But it's just one of those, it's chicken and egg situations that we're putting on coaches. Yeah, we just fell a bit short. We may try it again, and we may try it. Who knows? I don't know. I can't say what we'll do. We have to discuss these things. But yeah, it was close, but no cigar with that. However, we are launching the Player of the Year vote. So those of you who are members should get an email in the next day or so when you can vote for the Player of the Year. So, I can guess who it might be. Hopefully nobody at all.
Now.
So, Media Watch.
No, yes, Media Watch. Right. So, Dr. Jones, I don't know whether you did similarly, Mrs. Saunders. So we thought we'd listen to a few rugby podcasts as we trundled north, and we had the misfortune to listen to Rugby Union Weekly. And of course, they were reviewing what had happened into the quarterfinals of the Investec Champions Cup. Yes, I don't believe we were in it. I don't believe I don't think we are playing Leinster because they certainly didn't mention us. I think Mr. Ashton, Mr. Kerr and Mr. Monia basically wanted to talk about Leinster, which they did for 25 minutes of the pod. I actually think there is no point in listening. So then we moved on and the Rugby Pod, which is Andy Good, Dan Bigger and Jim Hamilton. Marginally better. Seriously, guys, punditry just needs to get better. Just because you have a particular team that you like talking about, Leinster, it's deathly dull. We're not interested. Unsurprisingly, with having one, as you rightly pointed out last week, Liz, one UK representative in the semi-finals, you'd have thought our press would have bigged us up. No. Absolutely not. So, sadly, I don't think I'll be bothering listening to them in the next few weeks because we're not doing anything. Yeah, we're not doing anything. And I'm really not that fussed about listening to how Leo Cullen and co are getting on because, oddly, they're Irish. They're not in the UK. And, bit of a waste of time. Although I did enjoy Ugo going very quiet in the second half yesterday against Bristol Bears.
What is the point of Bougainvillea discuss?
Well, if you're going to, you pick your favourite and you talk about them all the time. Well, that's dead easy. That's dead easy.
We don't do that. Well, we do.
I mean, at least in the States. So I came to record this pod whilst oddly, and actually shout out to Steve Montgomery, who is currently doing the Boston Marathon. He's a wheelchair rugby player with the Saints, and he is currently doing I think he's retired from wheelchair rugby to concentrate on his marathons, and he's currently doing the Boston Marathon even as I speak. It's called Patriots Day because it's the day that Paul Revere did his thing, and they all get very excited, and it's all completely mythological because it didn't happen. But anyway, but it's also the day that of the Boston Marathon when, sadly, if you remember a few years ago, there was people were killed in an attack. And so ever since, the Boston Red Sox have played their match on Patriots Day on the morning of the Boston Marathon. They all look like, everybody in the crowd, it starts at 11:10, and you can see everybody's like, we're not used to this. It's a bit
early. All right. Yeah.
But you have a choice when you watch on a Major League Baseball TV. You have a choice of which telecast, as they insist on calling it, which one you listen to. And I think we're getting there with rugby. You might as well. I'm listening to Nessun. Well, I was until I came in here, which is the broadcaster in northeast states. But if you want to listen to the Chicago team, you could, because they're playing the Chicago White Sox, you can listen to the team from Chicago. And I think we're getting there, because seriously, when you're only going to actually commentate on one team, there is no point in bothering. Leicester weren't actually. The script was Leicester got nilled. No, they didn't get nilled. They got thumped by Bristol in December at Welford Road, and the script was they were going to get thumped again by Bristol. I mean, we're playing free-flowing rugby, and it's wonderful. And why isn't
nobody else doesn't?
Yeah. And of course, they didn't follow the script, and they played ludicrous rugby. Ollie Hassel-Collins, it can be reported, made a tackle.
No, that must have been an accident. Mistimed that then.
Yeah.
Mistimed his despairing dive.
But I think if we're going to do anything about our broadcast, we do really need to have broadcasters that actually, But it used to be the same old Sky. It's just going down the same old path. So this weekend, talking of Bristol Bears.
Yes. So this weekend, it's a late kickoff, 5:30.
5:30, yeah.
Which works very well for me because I will be doing things, playing music for a Morris side in Northampton Town Centre during the morning to celebrate St George's Day, which is of course on Wednesday.
Of course, it's Wednesday, St George's Day. Yes. Happy St George's Day, everybody, in advance. So Bristol Bears come to town. Pat Lam and his team come to town, smarting off the back of losing to Leicester Tigers, who took the 5 points back to Welford Road. Boo. Actually, can we, crowds, pack it in with the booing?
There's a booing, lots of booing.
There was far too much booing on Friday. And also, can we... I'll get just the soapbox out. Whoop,
okay.
There I am. There's been some bad. Oh, very good. She's got the Elvino. Very, very good. Very good. There's been some willful misreporting and discussion on the old Keyboard Warriors message boards about the. Well, they're calling it segregation, which it isn't segregation. There is no such thing in rugby union as segregation. So at the Stonex on Saturday, a group of... Why try it with Gloucester? I mean, if you're going to have a... you talk about partisan crowds. Yes, they're not... regardless. Anyway, they're making available an area. If supporters want to sit together, they're making available an area for supporters to do that. They're doing the same thing in the semi-finals of the Investec Champions Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go on and buy in the general sale. Actually, saying that, I don't think any other supporters are going to be going to Dublin to watch Leinster play us. It'll be us, our sport. But if you want to sit together, there is a designated area, and that's the point. If you want to sit with those who support the same team as you, you've got an opportunity to do it. If you want to sit in amongst the home supporters, you've also got an opportunity to do it. It's not segregation as per football.
And it was what used to happen when they used to send an allocation of tickets.
Yeah.
That they would send it, and if you were happy to sit where that allocation was, then you sat and you knew you'd be with other supporters. But if you didn't like sitting up in the naughty corner or wherever it was, then you bought your own. So it's just it is actually trying to answer a question that supporters have asked a lot of. Where are you all sitting? And it's saying, well, you can all sit together there, and it's been
it was in the West Stand, and it seemed to feature a lot of kids on tour in fancy dress who seemed to like, in some cases, abusing the Saracens players. Less of that, guys. That's not what rugby's about. We'll have less of that. Anyway, but the actual principle of sitting together, it's not segregation. Can we please pack it in? It certainly isn't. So, Bristol Bears this weekend. I'm off your soapbox now. And Bedford Blues are at... No, they're not at. They're at Goldington Road and visited by London Scottish. So, So, and they've got quite a nice run in. We were looking, weren't we, to the end of the season. So, hopefully they can maintain their position in the top 4 of the championship. Lots of rumours about franchising and the plans for next season. What will be. I think the interesting twist, which I quite like, because Rugby League have done it, and it certainly seems to be working for them, which is it's less about the size of your stadium. It's more about the size of your crowd and your social media presence, which means immediately in the scheme of things, your Bedford Blues rise to the top because they've got a very loyal support who travel all over the country. They're always noisy, and there are always a lot of them, and they've got a fantastic presence on social media. They punch well above their weight. So come on, Ealing Trailfinders. Let's see a colour of your money now, because all that YouTube live thing told us was there wasn't much of a crowd there. Yeah. I'm also reading that Coventry are looking to extend their stadium anyway because they've had so many sellouts this season, which is true. It's fantastic. It was a sellout when we visited, if you remember, in that deluge in November. But they've had lots of sellouts. So the current owner, whose name escapes me, is looking to get the stadium to 8,000 anyway. So
good for them. That's good.
Yeah,
more power to their elbow.
More power to their elbow as well. So they'd be, well up there too. So if that's true, and whatever happens with franchising, and part of relegation and promotion becomes more about, are you growing your crowd, and do you have a crowd to bring with you, which is exactly where Rugby League's gone. I think that's actually a more practical and better response to the situation, because we need clubs who are growing, not withering.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mrs. Saunders, when do you return from your tour of the North?
Tomorrow.
We
did some lovely places. We went along the coast. We went to Whitley Bay and various other places. Very nice. And then we went through Sunderland yesterday on the way down. Well, it wasn't as bad as I expected, to be honest.
Well, the football ground, the Stadium of Light.
Yeah, Stadium of Light.
It's built on the site of a former mine that Dr. Jones used to work in.
Well, there you go. It seemed quite jolly. And then we went to Saltburn by Sea, and then down through
the funicular railway.
Yes, yeah.
And a very nice fish restaurant.
Well, we only stopped and had a coffee there, and then we went to Revo Abbey.
Very nice.
Then to York, onwards to York. So we had a very nice rundown, and then it was just home tomorrow. home in time for tea, as they say.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, it's been a tiring week because it's a long way to go to the north.
It is a long way north. Hence why we've done it in stages.
Well, we did it in stages too because we went and stayed with friends in Lincolnshire who were lovely and let us raid their house at midnight when we returned. They weren't awake, very wisely. But yeah, it's a long way north. But it was a grand trip. And not just because we won, because we need more rugby in the north.
Yeah, we do. Definitely.
So, I'm more than happy to support such a fine old club as Newcastle.
And for all the weirdness of the PA and the music at strange times, he was a very gracious announcer and thanked everybody. And
he thanked everybody for coming and made special mention of all the Saints staff and supporters. Yeah, he was very gracious. Yes, can he just turn the volume down a notch? My hearing aid was, because I am aware of these days of hearing aid, was having. I put it on Stadium and that didn't work. Which is why I tune out background noise. Yes, but he was very gracious, as all the staff are. The staff are fantastic at Kingston Park. So thank you to everybody, and good luck to them because, as I say, we need rugby in the north. We absolutely need rugby in the north, and they cover a huge area.
They do. It's enormous, and it was their first tri-bonus point for 2 years, I think.
Well, they play some good stuff.
They do play some really good stuff. And they have this season, they've taken some formidable scouts up there. So we did well to come away with the 5 points, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was, and it was very close at the end. Way too close. My watch was telling me.
They knew the shape of their D, though.
Yeah, they did. I did ask that question at one point. It all fell apart because Dingers wasn't there. My watch was telling me to cease whatever it was I was doing. My heart was beating far too fast.
My watch was telling me it was far too loud. And could I turn the sound down?
Well, I think that's it for episode 70.
Episode 70 of the Ladies Wot Pod.
Ladies Wot.
So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and we will see you all next week.
For more fun and frolics.
Bye now.
Bye. I can't find the button. I've lost my button.
Oh, Lord.